With the 8th pick in the NFL Replica Association 2023 rookie draft, the New York Jets select
Are you ready for some football?
What's up, guys? Welcome to 32 Deep, your official channel for fantasy football 32 teams deep. We're just about a week after the NFL draft. A lot of fantasy leagues start drafting. The NFL Replica Association has just concluded their draft. In this episode, we're going to go over it and I'll give some quick thoughts on the picks. This is not an in-depth analysis, but I just wanted to show you what went down in the NRA. So let's go ahead and get to it. Looking over the draft board in Sleeper, we have Bijan Robinson going first. That's no surprise. However, in this league, quarterbacks are super valuable. So if someone picked a quarterback over Bijan Robinson, I wouldn't give them too much grief. I'd probably still take Bijan over the quarterbacks, but in the NRA, there's a lot of things that make quarterbacks more valuable. In a 32-team league, good quarterbacks are hard to come by. So, the scarcity is enough to make you want to draft a quarterback. Another thing is that we do 6-point passing touchdowns and 0.1 points for completion and negative 0.1 points for incompletions. Most quarterbacks are going to throw 50% or better in a game, so there's points going to be had with that. We wanted to make this league very close to the NFL in terms of positional values. Quarterback is the position. Wouldn't be surprised if quarterback got picked here, but Bijan goes first. Anyways, to help illustrate my point, the next 3 picks are quarterbacks: Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, and then CJ Stroud. Anthony Richardson going 2nd overall to the NRA Colts. That's a homer pick, just like Bijan was with the Falcons, actually. Anthony Richardson has been shooting up draft boards like crazy ever since he got the 4th overall draft capital. I personally don't think he's going to make it. I think he's too raw of a prospect, doesn't have the passing chops, but we'll see. Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, they go back to back, just like in the real NFL draft. I do like CJ Stroud better than Bryce Young. I know everyone's going to say Bryce Young's the better prospect, even with his size taken into consideration, but there's something about CJ Stroud that I just like better when I watch him on a film. He's just such a smooth passer, just prototypical quarterback size. And I just like them better. We'll see how their careers pan out. We've got Jahmyr Gibbs with the 5th overall pick, followed by Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jordan Addison. Most times I would take a wide receiver over a running back in this position, but Jahmyr Gibbs got that 12th overall pick draft capital. That is huge. Even so, Jahmyr Gibbs, he doesn't have the body or size for a bell cow running back. He's got David Montgomery to compete with in the backfield. They're going to share touches, but, his draft capital is very high. They're going to use him. They're going to want him to be a good player. So, not a terrible pick. I'd still prefer Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is my number 1 wide receiver. I think he's going to be great. We've got Jordan Addison next, who, kind of slid down a lot of draft boards as we got closer and closer to the NFL draft. I like him here. He is a silky smooth receiver. I think he's going to be great in Minnesota. Will Levis goes 8th overall. He didn't have to wait long in the NRA draft, so he's out of the green room pretty quick here. The Jets, who drafted him here, also drafted Bryce Young. probably goes with the philosophy of how valuable quarterbacks are. He's probably looking at Will Levis as a good trade asset if he pans out. That's a big if though. Quentin Johnson goes next. I don't really like him as a receiver, but he does get first round capital to a high powered offense. We'll see if he pans out in the NFL. Justin Herbert makes it a lot easier to do that. Dalton Kincaid goes 10th overall, pretty early for a tight end. He's projected to be the most productive tight end in this entire draft, but I still think it's pretty early, especially in a league that doesn't require the tight end position. There is a 0.75 points per reception tight end premium in this league, but still not enough to warrant that high of a pick, actually. Got Devin A-Chain going at 11. I don't like him at all. But him going to Miami, people seem to like him. We'll see. Sam Howell, drafted 12th. In this league, we actually allow veteran free agents to be drafted as well. He was lying around on the waivers because someone, aka me, dropped him for Tyler Beatty. I don't know what I was doing. Sam Howell, potential quarterback starter for the Washington Commanders, ends up being the 12th overall pick because we allow veterans. So how stupid of me to drop him. Kendre Miller going right after that. I think he's got a shot to break out and take over the New Orleans Saints backfield. He was pretty good at TCU. Zay Flowers goes next, followed by Zach Charbonnet, and then followed by Roschon Johnson. Okay, so Zay Flowers, another wide receiver with first round draft capital. I personally don't like him, but I can see why a lot of people do. Zach Charbonnet, really, really unfortunate landing spot in Seattle, especially with Kenneth Walker III commanding the backfield there. It's going to be interesting to see if he does get a shot at the starting gig, or if there is some significant timeshare in that backfield now. People were hoping this guy was going to land somewhere else because he is a pretty good running back. Roschon Johnson, he ends up on the Bears. I'm surprised he got drafted pretty high here. We are at the 16th pick, which would be middle of the second round. There's a lot of other players I would have taken here, so he kind of went a little early. Michael Mayer going at 17, not too bad. He ends up on the Raiders, which, we'll see if they use their tight end well. I think, with Jimmy Garoppolo and Josh McDaniels, they do game plan well for tight ends. So, could be a good pick here. I know Dalton Kincaid went early at the 10th overall pick. I'd much rather have tight ends go here in the middle of the round. Hendon Hooker goes at 118. Wow, that's mid-second round still. Not a bad pick considering quarterback value again. Quarterback value is really high in this league. We've got Jonathan Mingo at 119, and I really like Jonathan Mingo. I picked him up in a few drafts in other leagues. Sam Laporta, of course, another tight end. Sam Laporta was drafted pretty high, I believe, in the actual NFL. It's not bad to pick tight ends here. There is that tight end premium. Man, a lot of tight ends went a lot earlier than I would have picked. Still middle of second round. There's a lot of good receivers and running backs in this draft. And speaking of which, we've got Rashee Rice, Tyjae Spears, Marvin Mims, Jalen Hyatt, and Tank Bigsby going in the next 5 picks. That rounds out pretty much what most people consider the second round of rookie drafts in a 12-team standardized league. Pretty good players that I think are going to be fantasy relevant, at least for a season or two. Moving on, we've got Josh Downs going really late. This is considered third round. I think him landing in the third round and on the Colts really pushed his rookie draft status down. Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, Tank Dell, Keyshawn Butte, Chase Brown, and Cedric Tillman. This is rounding out the first round of the NRA draft. Jaden Reed really shot up with that draft capital. Him going here is not surprising. Luke Musgrave going here. I don't really like him as an NFL prospect. He didn't catch a lot of balls at Oregon State. We'll see if he becomes a usable fantasy asset. I don't think so, given his college production profile. Tank Dell, Keishon Butte. Keishon Butte, that's a worthwhile flyer to take. He ends up on the Patriots, but at one point he was considered the best wide receiver in this draft. Cedric Tillman is the more forgotten about Tennessee wide receiver. I know he had some injury problems, but Jalett Hyatt kind of overshadowed him. But Cedric Tillman, I think, is more well-rounded than Jalett Hyatt. Pretty good pick here at the end of the first round. So moving on to the second round, not a lot of interesting things here. The second round is pretty thin because you're looking at even past fourth round picks. So let's go over this pretty quickly. Luke Schoonmaker, okay, went at the top of the second round. That's interesting. I would have expected people like Zach Evans and Izzy Abanikanda going before him. Another tight end, Tucker Kraft, also a Green Bay tight end. Stetson Bennett, quarterbacks. Michael Wilson, who is a pretty good receiver at Stanford, but was often hurt. Deuce Vaughn, tiny running back. It'd be interesting to see if he makes it in the NFL. Could be the next coming of Darren Sproles. You've got a lot of running backs here. Dwayne McBride, Eric Gray, Evan Hull. Who knows if any of these are going to pan out. You've also got Ronald Jones, who did sign with the Cowboys, has a chance to compete for a backup spot to Tony Pollard. Pretty good veteran draft pick here. We've got Darnell Washington, who had that highlight reel catch at the Combine. That landing spot in Pittsburgh behind Freiermuth doesn't say a lot for fantasy production. Elijah Higgins, I don't even know who that is. Xavier Hutchinson, Tyler Scott. Yeah, as we get to the mid-second round of the NRA draft, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. Dorian Thompson, quarterback from UCLA. He's going to back up Deshaun Watson. We'll see if he ever becomes relevant. Brenton Strange, Clayton Tune, Trey Palmer. Parker Washington, he could have been a pretty good stud wide receiver at Penn State, but injuries got the best of him. Jaron Hall, Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker, I had very high in my draft board until a lot of the medical issues came up. Seems like the NFL has also passed on him, but he goes late here at round 2 and 22nd pick. I think he ended up with the Buccaneers, which is a good spot for him. He could compete for some time in that backfield. A.T. Perry, Justin Shorter, Lou Nichols, Trey Tucker, Aiden O'Connell, Jay Hayner, Puka Nakua. Andre Iosivas, drafted by yours truly, huge athlete out of Hawaii. Not the college, but that's where he's from. He went to Princeton. Devontae Parker, another veteran draft pick. That's actually pretty good with the second to last pick in the draft. The Patriots did load up on wide receiver through free agency and through the draft. So Devontae Parker has some competition. Does he get cut? I don't know, maybe. I need to check his contract. With the last pick, Darius Davis, wide receiver who ended up on the Chargers. Speedy guy, 4.36 40. You know, maybe he won't be irrelevant. We'll see. That's the NRA draft. You can see in the 32 team draft, it gets pretty thin in that second round. You have to really know some guys that you probably won't hear about. It'll be interesting to see if any of these late second rounders pan out. Yeah, there were only 3 veterans taken. Overall, great draft. I think it went pretty smoothly and excited for the season to start to see how some of these rookies pan out. I'll be doing a post-draft tier ranking of the NRA. Look out for that video. All right, that's all I've got, and get your waivers in. Waivers are now open now that the draft has concluded. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.